Yeah, I think, Emma, with that as well, one of the biggest things is, you guys have strong cores anyway. You're very challenged on your body and you work really hard. So in terms of that, it's not whether someone, and the diastasis recti, which I think it's really important for me just to touch on if that's helpful for you guys, and maybe if you have any questions on that, Susie, on the postnatal side. But the diastasis recti is the separation of the connective tissue. And that can happen whether you have a really strong six pack or you're someone that doesn't even exercise. It's one of those things that just naturally happens. It's the connective tissue stretching, and it's quite natural because of the bump enlarging. And so sometimes when you can train, you can kind of get this doming effect. We don't really want the doming effect to be any more challenged. So if you are doing crunches and things like that, it's definitely a good idea not to do those anymore. And generally, most of my exercises and any kind of pregnancy training program you do should be a functional core strengthening exercise that's basically results in no crunches or flexion. So we want to try and avoid that as much as possible. So then the diastasis on the other side can be separated, and you want to check that, and you want to check it with your GP or your midwife, someone just to know whether there is a gap. And often the gap will heal before you even realize it. And sometimes the gap may still be there postnatally. And sometimes it's not necessarily about how big the gap is. Some people can be one finger and heal. Some people can be 3 or 4 fingers and take a lot longer to heal. The most important thing is the strength behind that gap. So if I stick my finger in between kind of the midline, following down from breastbone all the way down to pubic bone, and I press in and I can't feel anything pushing back against my finger, you don't have any functional strength yet. Okay. And that is one of the most important things, I think, for everyone, every female, that you get that strength and that connection connected right. So pelvic floor function with breath and engaging a sense of strength. So when you're lifting baby or getting them into and out of the cot or into the pram, that you're thinking about that strength, because once you've got that, then running is not a problem. But if you run with a weak core, you'll cause pelvic floor issues. You might start leaking and you weren't leaking before. The pressure it's like a kettle. The pressure has to go somewhere. And if it's not strong enough there, it's going to be pushing downward somewhere else. Yeah. Does that make sense?